A humble sailor who just wanted to dance. Until his scenes got cut. Thanks, Danny Boyle. We watched T2 Trainspotting, and this is what we had to say. After 20 years abroad, Mark Renton returns to Scotland and reunites with his old friends Sick Boy, Spud, and Begbie. It's the Battle Royale Final, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Here we go. We're in the Thunderdome now. We're in the Thunderdome. Entering the Thunderdome is our winner. All hail Sasha Reid, Queen Sasha. There we go. Also joining us is our two unfortunate runners-up. We've got Andrew Grayson.
Sorry. I guessed.
Andrew Grayson and Joseph Boon. And also joining us is our guest this week here to talk all about his awesome upcoming period drama, A True Mismatch. We've got Daniel Reynolds. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Great to have you here. Great to have you here. So looking forward to talking to you all about A True Mismatch later on in the episode. But first, you've got to help us with reviewing T2 Trainspotting. So, Sasha, here we go. First of all, how are you feeling, Sasha? How are you feeling to be the winner of the Battle Royale?
I'm feeling good. I mean, I really wanted Ray to win, so I was really happy with that. And then I was like, oh, okay, so now I need to fight again against two people. And I wasn't really too fussed about it, but I think Andrew said something like, I'm going to kick both your asses. And I was like, oh, are you actually? No, that's not going to happen. And it turned out it didn't happen, so sorry, Andrew. Joseph, I'm sorry too, but mostly Andrew.
Yeah, I wasn't even a contender in that race. I was way at the back. I was still eating my yogurt at the starting line.
Oh, that's cool, guys. You go ahead.
I'll catch up.
Oh, so Sasha, tell the audience, why did you pick T2 Trainspotting?
Well, I quite liked that there was already a Marvel and then there was already an animated film. So I was trying to think of something that was really different, so there'd be a good variety for people to pick from. And I just kept coming back to T2. It's Scottish. The first one was really good. This one in particular was a great film. And I just thought it'd be something different compared to the other two. I really wanted to pick Guardians of the Galaxy too, but I didn't want to pick another Marvel film. And I would like to say, if I wasn't in this competition, I probably would have picked Winter Soldier.
Oh, come on, Sasha.
No, seriously, I love it. It's one of my favourite films, and I was like, oh no, you go against this. This is so
Actually,
hard.
honestly, I would have picked the same.
I feel this episode is turning into just winding me up now at this point.
Is it working?
Yes.
Love you.
Oh dear. Andrew, I'll come to you next then. So, I mean, we obviously know how you're feeling. I mean, I was with you, mate. I was with you as well. I mean, I did vote for Winter Soldier, you know. So, I mean, for me, it was the best film out of the three, I thought, personally. So I was with you. I think you had the if everyone was voting with their head, you know, I think that's what would have been picked. But Sasha coming in with all her pals, stealing the show, stealing the public vote.
I don't have that many pals. I'm just getting annoyed.
I'm not even having that. If you don't have that many pals, you've got the longest blacklist I've ever known, man. Because there was a point where the vote. Look, to be honest, I think Shrek 2 got robbed.
Yeah.
When Joseph told me that was his film, I thought, oh no, like I couldn't think. I'm going Marvel. Most people are superhero fans. There's a big following. Blah blah blah. When he told me Shrek 2, I thought there is no chance. And then 3 weeks later, after we'd already announced our two films, and Sasha had a good while to decide what film she was going to pick. In the meantime. And she said Trainspotting to 2. I was like, yeah, that's a good choice, but I still think Shrek 2 is my biggest competition.
I thought that was the case as well.
And I couldn't have been more wrong. There was a point I think I got as close to maybe 16 votes, and then it ended up to being 316 of the difference. So, yeah, I'm not a very good loser. But for the I don't feel bad. Like, do you know how I'm feeling now? If any of you's watched the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance, it says the line, I took that personal. So if we ever have a vote off again, I feel bad for my family and friends because I would be personally. It won't be general Facebook posts. It will be personal posts and messages to each.
Yeah, I did message some people. I was like, hey, no, I haven't spoken to you in like 3 years. I hope you're doing good.
Smiley face.
Follow this link and do a laughing face. And then see some people that just kept doing thumbs up, but then posting laughing faces. I was like, no, you don't need to comment. It's totally fine. Just do it.
Okay, we get it, Sasha. I got pity votes as well because we didn't know how to fucking smile.
Oh dear.
I actually didn't think of that, but yeah.
Here's me thinking Paul had it bad on Love You Man, but Andrew's taking the biscuit already. Right, okay, Andrew, tell us then, what are your first thoughts on T2 Trainspotting then?
Trainspotting 2, it's a good film. I did a post where I was talking about my film and I did say I don't think it's as best. It's as good as the first Trainspotting. I'd only seen it once prior in the cinema. So when I rewatched it, this was only the second time I'd seen the film. I think there's better parts in this film, but I think as a movie overall, I think Trainspotting had the better story to tell. But it's a good film. I wouldn't say it's a bad film.
Joseph, I mean, yeah, we've already kind of established Shrek 2 robbed a bit. I think. I think we all kind of were surprised that it just didn't do quite as well as we thought it was going to do. It was an interesting one, yeah. Because I mean, well, I'm looking forward to talking to you both actually on what might have been later on in the episode with your two films because I love both those films. So yeah, I'm very surprised. Joseph, what are your first thoughts on Trainspotting 2, and was it a Boon bonanza for you?
Thank you, Craig. I'm firmly with Andrew on this one. Next time it comes to a vote, it's not about if I win. It's about Sasha losing.
Yes. Yes.
And I have taken this personally. So out of spite, I never watched T2. No, I did. It was the first time I watched Trainspotting 2. I'd seen Trainspotting before, and I think it's a better film than the first one. I won't go into that just now, just in case it comes up, and I don't want people to immediately stop listening because of my opinions. But I thought it was a really good film, a brilliant film. It just it actually made me feel a little bit emotional near the end of it, just because there's growing up when I did. I know folk that are in the film, and watching the first, I rewatched the first one to watch the second one, and it's like I recognise folk that I grew up with in, like, Renton and Spud and all those guys, and watching the second one, it made me think, I wonder if those guys are the same now as the characters are 20 years on in T2. But it was a fabulous film, and the soundtracks are brilliant. I'd rewatch it again just for the soundtracks.
Yeah,
he's selling it better than I did. He said, yes.
For those of you listening on the podcast, Andrew's face is a picture right now, but we'll move on. So Dan, welcome. So, what are your first thoughts on Trainspotting 2?
But believe it or not, actually, I watched Trainspotting 2 before Trainspotting 1, which is a big thing. I love. I'm originally from Southwest London, so I liked in Scotland you have like Trainspotting. In London it was very much like Snatch and Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels and all that sort of stuff. So when I watched it, I saw a lot of Danny Boyle's style with Guy Ritchie. They're very similar, the way they do things, and I love Trainspotting 2. I actually watched it again last night, and not much has changed, because when you live in areas like kind of working class areas, you do have a bunch of pals, and there's one that becomes successful and the rest just kind of stay in their everyday life and they don't change much. I love that. It was very realistic, I think, as well. It was great, and it's good to see the characters 20 years later as well. It's just it's nice, brilliant. I really liked it.
Yeah, awesome. So my first thoughts are going to be a little bit different this week, because for those of you who've been keeping up on social media will know I am actually in Trainspotting 2. I get
I actually tried to look for you last night, Craig, as well. I was like, where is he?
Good luck, Dan. Good luck. Because
I think I did spot Chris in the film. Chris Mooney.
How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? It is very much a blink and you'll miss me moment because I got cut down to 1 second. Most of my scenes were cut out with him, which we're going to go into in a bit more detail in a second. So, as I said, a little bit different this week from my first thoughts. So, I'm going to play a wee game with you called Tales from Set. So, Tales from Set. Now, I'm going to give you 5 stories, and you have to all decide as a panel whether they are true, things that happened to me on the set of Trainspotting 2, or whether they are false. Now, the reason we're playing this game is because this was genuinely the most bizarre, most fun shoot of my entire life as an actor so far. It was absolutely, it was just incredible, the things that happened. So, here are your 5 statements. Now, I'll read them all out. I'll read out the 5 statements. I'll then explain all 5 statements. I'll tell you the story. And then after that, you can then go through them all and we can vote true or false. Okay? So, number 1. I was the only person dressed as a sailor because of scenes that were cut. Number 2, I danced while Begbie stared me down. Number 3, a supporting artist or extra on set disappeared and was never heard from again. Number 4, I got a head nod from Obi-Wan Kenobi. And number 5, the best moment that I've ever had on set happened on this rainy night at 2 a.m. in the Cowgate of Edinburgh. So, number 1. So I was the only one dressed as a sailor. Now, for a bit of context, right? So this Trainspotting 2 happened very, very early on in my acting career, right? So this was very early on. And my agent at the time phoned me up and said, look, okay, they're filming Trainspotting 2 in Edinburgh. They're doing this massive scene in a nightclub. And they're going to be packing the place full of like 2,000 members of the public who have won a competition. But they're also wanting to employ some actors, some supporting artists or extras to kind of pad out the scene who know what they're doing. And also you're actually going to be taken upstairs and filmed like some indoor shots and filmed some exterior scenes as well. So that was how it was sold to me. So I was like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. So I go to the costume fitting, which happens about 2 weeks before. And the costume lady takes one look at me and goes, sailor. And she gets this sailor outfit, tight fitting. I mean, honestly, you could see everything. It was tight fitting, and she said, and I remember she said, you'll be one of the sailors. And I was like, all right, okay, fair enough. And to this day, I hadn't known what happened, and it wasn't until I actually started doing prep work for this episode that I worked out what happened. Now, most of my scenes were cut because a whole storyline was cut. Because in the nightclub scene, there's a reason why everyone's dressed the way they are, because it was supposed to double as both an 80s themed night in the present, but also the actual 1980s. They were going to do some cut betweens, because things like Ian Bell from Outlander, he was playing a young Spud. He was there, and a bunch of other people were there playing younger versions of all the characters. So I don't know what I was supposed to be, whether I was supposed to be an actual sailor who was on leave or something in the 80s, whatever, or I was just a guy randomly dressing like this in an 80s theme night out. No idea. Anyway, I get there, and whatever happened in the 2 weeks, don't know, because I turn up, I go in, get changed, come out, and everyone else is literally dressed like they're up for a night out. Like what white t-shirt, jeans. At best they've got double denim on, and there's me rocking out in this bright white sailor outfit, and everyone just bursts out laughing at me. And I'll never forget that. Anyway,
to be fair, there is always that one guy on a night out where it takes it that far. So.
Exactly.
Well, that one guy always brings the party, though.
Yes, there you go.
And Craig always does.
Yeah. Yeah. So, number 2, I danced while Begbie stared me down. So, this was the first thing that we did. So we got taken upstairs. Now, this is a nightclub I know quite well because I was a student in Edinburgh, and I loved this nightclub. It had a cheesy dance floor, which was the best place to be on a night in Edinburgh. So we got taken up to the cheesy dance floor, and this is where we're going to do like our scenes without all the public. So the public were getting brought in downstairs and kind of getting shuffled in. We were doing our scenes upstairs. So the first thing we did, we would come in, and then this big strapping 6'5" guy comes in and goes, right, everyone, we're going to learn a dance. I was like, are we? All right. So we get taught this like choreographed dance number. And again, it's all cut. The most you see in the film is it's the song, you know, this, when you hear the song, and that's the way it is. That song, right? So there was a whole choreographed dance routine to this. And all you see really in the film is us going like down and then jumping back up again. So we get taught this dance in like 15, 20 minutes. And then Robert Carlyle gets brought in and gets plugged right down. This was a really funny scene. I don't know why they cut it, because like it was a really good scene, because they filmed us do this dance and they just filmed Begbie, who'd been in prison for 20 years, just kind of looking at us and going, what the fuck are these guys doing? It was so funny. But it was like me and then Robert Carlyle, and he was just staring at me as I was doing this dance routine. And he was in characters. It was fucking terrifying. It was fucking terrifying. So yeah, he was just staring at me as I was doing this dance routine. Anyway, number 3, one of my personal favourites. An essay supporting artist extra disappeared from set and was never heard from again. So this was happening while we were rehearsing the dance routine, right? So when you're on these things, you kind of get like a group of friends that you kind of like go around the set with, like, you know, like for the day. So this is one of the guys who I'd been chatting away to, right? I mean, we're just standing next to each other. We're doing the dance. And, you know, Danny Boyle walks in and he kind of is looking around, kind of surveying the scene. And he looks and then he does a little like that. And then he leans over to one of the crew members and whispers in his ear. And I shit you not, this is how this happened. Okay, I'm telling you, this is how this happened. I talked to this guy who I've become pals with, and I kind of do a few more steps. I turn back, and he's gone. He's gone, vanished. We never knew what happened to him. We don't know why he was taken, but he was gone. And I remember thinking at the time, like, Danny Boyle's a freaking mafia boss, man. I better get these steps right. Fucking hell.
Wait, hold on, Craig. Did he disappear or was he taken?
Who knows? Who knows, man? To this day, I don't know. Like, it was literally that quick. I looked, I did some dance routine, I looked back, nothing. Gone. Never knew what happened. And we were all talking about it for the rest of the time. We didn't have a clue what happened to him. Number 4, I got head over from Obi-Wan Kenobi. So this is when we all got brought downstairs to join the members of the public. And this was, it was so cool. It was like 2,000 people there. And we all sang Queen together. That scene was so much fun. It was so much fun. And this was when Ewan McGregor was kind of walking towards Johnny Lee Miller. And he was doing his walkthrough. He was going to get rehearsed. Had like 2 security guards beside him. But he was like getting walked through the dance floor. And I'm just kind of standing there kind of waiting for things to happen. And he's walking past me. And I can see, he clocks me, because I'm dressed like a fucking sailor. He clocks me, and he looks up and down, gives me like a little head nod as if to say, "We've all been there, mate," and then and then just walks on. Oh, anyway. And then number 5, and this is it. This is the one. This is the one. It's the best one that I ever had on set happened on this shoot. Right. This is after all the dance stuff had happened. We do the exterior scene. So this is when, you know, when Begbie chases renting out the club. So that now most of that got cut, by the way. So again, this was my actual scene. This is why I was there. So I was given me and a group of people were given this scene, and I'd never spoke to these guys yet on the set yet. They're just random people that I've been put with, and the plan was that we were going to walk around, go up that steep cobbled hill, and then talk to the bouncers and go, "Hey, let us in, etc., etc." And then we go in, and as this is happening, that's when Begbie chases renting out the club. Yeah, so that was done with stand-ins, because this was like a normal night out in Edinburgh, right? So this was like Friday or Saturday. So there was members of the public just like walking about the Cowgate. So they have to barrier off the Cowgate. There's just members of the public just kind of like looking over and what the hell's going on. So they have to use stand-ins. So what happens is we get to our first starting point, and you know, we're kind of just chatting away. We do the first take. We come back, and collectively as a group, we kind of all notice that there's one guy who is acting a bit off. We don't know what's wrong with him, but there's something not right about him. And we're just kind of all kind of silently kind of go, what's going on? And then we go again. We do take number 2, cut, come back. And again, we're just kind of like looking at him. And then I kind of notice, he's holding a beer bottle. And at the time, I remember just thinking, he's just got a proper beer bottle. That's fine. And then we go again. Take 3, cut, come back. And this is it. We all kind of collectively go, no. This guy is pissed. This guy is completely off his face. And then again, though, still at this point, we were kind of half of us were kind of like, is he just really committed? Is he like doing a bit of method acting here? Because honestly, just gone. Take 4. We go again, cut, come back. And then out of nowhere, this big, massive security guard comes in, grabs the guy, hauls him away, chucks him over the barrier back to his pals. It had been a member of the public that had snuck in. And so they climbed over the barrier. He joined the group. Now, he was wearing like a T-shirt and jeans. So Like like, if anything, I'm the guy who looks out of place in this group. So he kind of comes in, and literally he survives for 4 takes. There's 4 takes of that film with this random drunk guy doing this scene with us and back again. And honestly, I mean, I'll give you this one for free, guys. That is absolutely true. It was one of the best moments of my entire life. I will remember that moment till the day I die. It was so funny. And just the audacity of this drunk guy just coming in and joining the shoot. It was so funny. Anyway, so there you go. There's your 5 stories. So I'll go through them all and just shout out. Just say true or false. Just say true or false. I've been jabbering away for so long already. So number 1, I was the only person dressed as a sailor because of scenes that were cut.
False.
That's true.
True.
I'll go true as well.
Dad, did you say false? Yeah.
Yeah, I said false.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2, I danced while Begbie stared me down.
True.
That seems true, but I'm going to go false.
I feel like they're all true.
I'm going false as well.
I thought they were all true as well, but I've got a feeling there's got to at least be one that's false.
I don't think Craig would be sitting there if he's had Robert Carlyle as Begbie stare him down. He'd still be rocking back and forth in the corner after that.
Number 3, the essay that disappeared.
I think that's true.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Quite random, so I think it's true.
Yeah,
I'll go true.
I've never done like background work or anything, but I've heard some horror stories, so it does seem like somebody would just be like, "Yeah, not for me. I'm just gonna go."
I got head nod from Obi-Wan Kenobi.
True.
I hope so.
True.
Wanted to be true.
Okay.
And true.
And number 5, you know, is true. So I can reveal the. Well, did anyone say true for all of them?
No.
Well, Sasha's correct because they are all true.
Of course they're all true. It's a Danny Boyle film. Of course it's all true.
Oh my god.
Every single one.
Stop feeding her ego.
I actually thought that the first one was false because you hesitated in putting in the sailor bit in one of your I think it was in number 4 or something to kind of remind us about the sailor. That's why I thought it was false. I was like, oh no. But honestly, hats off to you, Craig, for that, by the way.
Oh,
sailor.
The only one that I thought that
Have you
could
got
be
pictures of
false.
that? Like a full outfit of you being like, yeah.
I've got a snapshot of me on the bus in my sailor outfit, but not a full shot. I can send you that, but I'll try.
And insert here.
Yes.
Yeah, please. I want to see this.
Well, follow us on Twitter and Facebook to see
exactly.
this image more.
I'll get it in the final edit. Yeah, I'll try and see if I can get the screenshot or something. Okay.
Oh, brilliant.
That's enough out of me. Any sequel, right? We were kind of talking about this before the episode we've started filming the episode, but any sequel kind of has certain things that you kind of want to see to kind of make it good. And if the film executes these things, that's what's going to make the sequel like stand the test of time and be a film in its own right. So the first thing for me really is the kind of reintroduction of all the characters. Where are they now? How well is this done? Does it show the passage of time well? Has there been any kind of development off screen that we kind of get thrust into straight away? So, Sasha, I'll come to you first. How well do you think the film executed this kind of reintroduction of all the characters that we know and love from Trainspotting 1?
I think it did it really well. Like, it's literally 20 years later and they're all in their wee bubbles. So, like, Renton, he's left, he's fucked off with the money in the last film, and he looks like he's living the dream. He's healthy, he's away from it all, and then he face plants on a treadmill. And he's like, okay, so there's something up in my heart, and that's how he turns out to come home. Then Sick Boy, he's still a raging cokehead, so not a lot has changed, but he's trying to bribe or extort people for money while running an old pub. And then we've got Begbie, again, who's still a raging lunatic and is in prison because you wouldn't expect him to be anywhere else. And then he kind of uses the beginning of this film to figure out how to get out of prison and escape, which is quite exciting. And then there's wee cute Spud, who's still this wee potato, and he's trying to be the best person he can be. And he's like, I see when he's like, and looking at him, seeing wee Fergus, who's not so wee anymore, and you're just like, oh, he's just so cute, and he's a dad at the same time. But then obviously the daylight saving fucks him up, and he's late for everything, and he's still Spud, who's always in the shite. And you're like, you just can't. He never gets a good moment. It's like, you poor thing, you're always in the shite. So yeah, and then I guess after all this happens, he's like, there's just no point in me being here, so he's going to kill himself. and that's kind of when everyone's all in the kind of same area, and that's when the story really starts. So that's kind of what, I was just kind of reintroducing you all there. So, but yeah, no, it's a good start. I think it's brilliant. I love it. I love the music that he used as well. So yeah.
I think it's a cracking intro because you basically get the snapshot of each character, and especially Spud. I love Spud. He breaks my heart every time. But I think also correct me if I'm wrong, it's this bit sort of interspliced with like the opening credits, isn't it?
Yeah.
Footage of like younger versions of them playing football, which is a lovely callback to the original opening credits.
Yeah.
But the song that's used is it Lou Reed's Perfect Day? And it's like basically when Mark has this like big hit near the end of the film of Trainspotting, so it's like those two overlaps, which is really, really nice. And it's like, we're meeting all these our old pals again, but it's sad at the same time.
Yeah.
It's this wonderful melancholy moment, and then also just Spud. I just want to cuddle him, man. I just want to give him a cuddle.
You're hoping that we're all doing really well, and you're kind of like, you're maybe not.
I do think the pace that they done it as well, because obviously there are so many characters they want to kind of sink in with. I do think the pace that they done it with where you were seeing it quickly, like where McGregor was, where Sick Boy was, quick hang with a Spud, seeing where. So I think the pace that they done it was to go, right, let's quickly get everyone, remind everyone who's where they've ended up in the last 20 years, and then kind of got to the meat of the bones, as you say, when you find Spud trying to kill himself and Renton comes in to save him.
Oh, I hated that bit. Action was like, I thought I was
that must have been
watching
that must have been such a fun scene to film, but
what?
He's obviously I would have had such a laugh with that. Andrew, going to have 2 mouthfuls of soup in your gob. We're going to put a bag in your head and then just spit it everywhere. That would be a laugh.
It's wonderful. The thing that I love about both films is like you're expecting it to be a little bit Hollywood, if you know what I mean. It's like, he's got the bag over his head, he's about to die, Obi-Wan Kenobi's going to come in and save the day. But no, before he gets to the bag, just bam, they're sick everywhere. It's like it's like the bit with poor Spud again with the shit in the first film, and going downstairs to his pretty much in-laws, and he's got like the big duvet filled with his own fecal matter, and it just goes, why? It's like Danny Boyle doesn't go away from that, the really embarrassing moments, and I think it's brilliant, but also just it makes you feel dirty, just like in that dear.
It's such a powerful scene as well, that scene, because it happens, and that's the harsh reality of it, and it's just it's just so powerful actually seeing it on screen, and as you said, it's not so Hollywood about it, it's very realistic. They made it as realistic as possible, and that's why it was so powerful.
He just swallowed all these random drugs, and he's almost stopped breathing, so he's gonna be sick or something like that. So like, oh fuck, you were just expecting him to maybe just like lie there and you'd rip the bag off, but when that happened, you're proper shocked. I was like, I was like,
I wonder what the soup they used.
I know. That was a good lentil.
Yeah, I was going to say that was.
I do think it shows. It gives a lot of insight into the characters as well. That scene, in the sense of, right, so you've just witnessed your mate try and kill himself. You've saved him. He gets angry at it at first, and so quickly it just turns to calm, where Spud's asking him, "Are you going to stay for a couple of days? It would be nice to catch up." And you're going, "Mate, you were trying to kill yourself not 5 minutes ago." So I think it gives you a real insight into how these characters live, where maybe the thought of suicide or they've got themselves to such a bad thing, but something can maybe turn that round really quickly. But you are in a dark place where it can go from happy to right now. There's no point in me being here anymore.
Yeah,
which was sad, but I thought it was displayed really well in the.
It totally sums up like Spud as well, like how he is, because he's in that mess because of his mates, but he wants to be with his mates, so he's like using it as escapism, that sort of thing. And then as soon as Mark's back, and he's like, "Oh great, I can breathe. I can just go back to being how I was 20 years ago." It's that sort of like, it's almost like going meeting your high school mates again after not seeing them for ages, and you just go back into that old version of yourself,
as if nothing never changed.
As if nothing's changed. And it's a wonderful scene to see it just start at this high escalation point and then just slowly calm and mellow out, as Andrew says.
And I loved how he fell off, like as if he was falling off the building, and then he catches him, and I was like, "Oh, that's powerful."
Oh, that gave me anxiety, that part. I was like that because when I was in IB for 1 year, right, I was at the edge that I was living in these kind of big story flats, and like you know, they had banisters and stuff, and like I'd go outside and I'd just go, you know, when you're like, whoa, oh no, oh, I had that anxiety when I watched it. I was like, no.
I really love the opening of the film. I think it's very, very strong. It's probably one of the stronger parts of the film for me. I love how snappy it is. And you were talking Dan before about Guy Ritchie and stuff. That kind of similar directing style. Danny Boyle was very similar. I love the snappiness. I love how quickly, because the thing about a sequel is, and the thing you've got to address with a sequel as well, is that everyone's waiting to find out what's happened to these people.
Yeah.
So if you just, like, the way he does it, I love it, because he's just saying, right, this is him, this is him, this is him, this is him, this is what's happened, and now we can relax and we can actually enjoy this actual film in its own right and enjoy the kind of character development of all these characters now. So I think it was a very, very smart choice on Danny Boyle's part, for sure. One of maybe a few smart choices that he made, maybe cutting some things out, maybe he made a few mistakes there, but you know, never mind. So I better watch myself actually if I ever work with him. Any sequel as well. Also, of course, it has a lot of callbacks. It has references to that first film that you know and love so well. The important thing to remember though is obviously as well that you can't go overboard with these things, because is this a film in its own right? This is the kind of discussion that we're going to be discussing about later on, but is it a film in its own right, or is it just a fan service for everyone who enjoyed Trainspotting 1? So you've got to kind of strike that balance between the two things. Is there enough callbacks? Is there too much callbacks? That's kind of the question you need to ask yourself. So Andrew, I'll come to you first. How well do you think the film did with the callbacks to Trainspotting 1? Too much for you? What do you think?
I think this was my biggest issue with the film. I think there was far too many callbacks. I think, to me, the way I described it, and by no means am I saying this is a bad film, I think it's a good film, but my biggest issue with this film was it seemed as if they were like, so there's been a trend where it's like, oh, we had this film and 20 years later, here's the sequel. So it seemed to me it was like, right, we're going to do Trainspotting 2, let's write a story, rather than we've got a really good story, so let's do Trainspotting 2. So you got your references like the Choose Life speech, you got the She's Too Young for You, you got the chase scene, you got the infamous toilet scene, you get loads of wee winks and nods. And for the most part, don't get me wrong, there's one part that I'm assuming we're going to talk about a wee bit later on, but for the most part, to me, the meat of this movie was callbacks and references to, remember this in the first film, this was a really good bit, and then you kind of wove the story in between. Because if you go, what's the story to this? Is Renton and Sick Boy are trying to build a brothel while they kind of get back at each other, and then other things happen. Whereas for most of the story as well, as you're getting, and don't get me wrong, like we all love a reference. It's what you want to be reminded of. But for me, I think they just done too many and didn't really kind of solidify a story as to why we're getting referenced back. To me, it kind of overtook the main story of Trainspotting 2, as in, right, this is what happened. Remember, this happened in the first Trainspotting, and there was a line when they go back to the hike scene where in the first film he says being Scottish is shite, where Sick Boy says to Renton, "You're here for nostalgia," and I don't know if that was put in purposefully, as in that's why we're all here. But I just thought, yeah, this pretty much is a nostalgic film where you're just referencing the first film. But there are segments of this film that I think are really, really good. But as a film overall, I think they just referenced the first film far too much, in my opinion.
I don't know, I think they're just showing what life is like. Like, we're all meeting each other. There's not much we can tell each other because everything that's happened is kind of shit. I pretended I had 2 kids and a wife. Turns out I can't actually have kids and I'm getting divorced. So I'm going to come back and speak to all my pals. And then all you do in life is really think back and want to reminisce about the good times or the times that you all remember together. So I think that's pretty much like what you said is what they were doing. But I thought it was quite realistic and nice, because that's probably what people will do, and they'll be like, yeah, actually that's how we live our lives most of the time, is always thinking back or trying to
I don't know, the one that stuck out for me the most, where I just thought you didn't really need to do that, was at the near the end when Spud is going through his stories with Robert Carlyle, and he literally word for word repeats the "no cunts leaving here till we find out what cunt done it," and I'm going,
no. I thought that was a great bit. I thought that was good, and it was marred because you spent the first part of the film seeing, like Renton getting stopped by the car, rolling over the car. You've seen that 5 times. You've seen all these other bits, X amount of times. I think if that was just its standalone moment, where it's this, Begbie's reliving this glory day sort of thing, because that is Begbie's. He's like this. He says it near the end when he's like confronting Renton. He's like, "What room is there now in the world for guys like me?" Because he's stuck in the past. Because he's been inside for 20 years. So I think that would have been a wonderful moment if it was just isolated on its own. However,
that's the issue, though. I agree
exactly.
wholeheartedly, but it's not the only moment, because it is, and it's because I think that is one of the last references that you do get after you've had the chase scene, the Choose Life. I don't think Choose Life had to be in it because that's iconic with Trainspotting, but with the references to She's Too Young for You, with the references, you get a wee sneaky bit of the music, and then you get all of the music at the end. I just think it came at the end of so many more, and I completely agree with you. It's in isolation, it's probably as a lovely moment that Begbie's reliving his youth, but at the same time, I'm like,
so it wasn't
I just thought there was too much.
You've seen so many, so you're kind of like, okay, well, kind of expected to get one from everyone now. So
it's kind of like you're sitting watching it with Danny Boyle on the sofa next to you, and he's going, "There's a good bit coming up." It's a good bit coming up. And he's nudging you, going, "Oh, if you like that reference, there's a good one coming later." And it's like, just let me watch the film without being reminded of the prequel.
Yeah. Dan, what about you?
No, I mean, like I said at the beginning, I watched the second one first, so it made sense when I went back to the first one. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'll be honest with you guys, I was never a big fan of Trainspotting when I watched it. I just was like, because like, as I say, I grew up watching Snatch and Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels, and then like when you move to Scotland, everyone's like, "We seen Trainspotting." I'm like, no.
That's what happens as soon as you come up across the border. They sit you down and ask you if you watch Trainspotting.
Literally, before you get residence in Scotland, they go, right, okay, couple of things. What football team do you support?
Yes.
Or it's have you seen Trainspotting? Right, okay, you've ticked one of them. That's fine. You can, that's not a problem. But yeah, I mean, I like you guys were saying, it was like. You get to that part of your adult life when you're kind of hitting your 30s or in your mid-20s, and like you have responsibilities and you have things in life which, when you were younger, you didn't have. And like when you're younger, you're in a happier place because you've not got all these responsibilities or worries and things like that. And I like the way that they kind of went back into their old school kind of, 16, 18-year-old that they were. And, it was very realistic. It was. And, like I said, it was. I actually really enjoyed it. Actually, I first I was like, oh no, because I watched the first Trainspotting and I was like, I don't know if I like this too much. And then I watched the second one, and I was like, okay, I actually like it now. And watching them together kind of makes sense. And I thought that they did it really well. And I don't know if you guys know, like, you see when you watch some programs where they do like a gap. Like when I was, for example, the new when they have the small children and then they have the adults, but the adults are not the small children. Like they actually kept the original cast together, and do you know what I mean? Rather than, mind you couldn't do that. I think everyone would kick up an absolute fuss if you didn't have that of the original cast. But it was done so well. And as I say, I love Danny Boyle. He's very much like Guy Ritchie in his style.
Yeah. The things that kind of stood out for me though that I was more interested in. So see, when you got the story of Begbie's old man was the tramp, but I was more interested in that stuff because I'm going, right, that's given us more background as to why Begbie is like why he is. And as much as it was like nice getting references back to the first film, for me with sequels, I'm like, show me
More.
why we're making this one. Show me what's different. Yes, have those references, but show me what's new. And I think with Daniel seeing the second one before the first, I do think that would make me probably enjoy the second one more than the first one as well.
Yeah. There was a scene, but by the way, I was watching it with my other half yesterday, and there is a scene that I just loved. It's the scene where Obi-Wan Kenobi goes. Obi-Wan Kenobi goes back to his home, and they have the scene shot of them sitting down on the table, at the table, and the mum is not there. And there's just a shadow. Oh my god! Yeah. Oh my god!
Beautiful.
Yes.
Oh my god! I literally just went because of from like a producer kind of like for somebody who's sort of loves doing films and making things and shots being so important. I watched that and I just went to my other half. I love that shot. Oh, I love it. She was like, Dan, just enjoy the film. Stop analysing it. Just watch it. And I'm like, no, can we just pause this for once? I mean, look at this. And I'll start going, look, the mum's there, and it's just she's not there though. And it's the shadow, but is it Obi-Wan Kenobi's shadow? Do you know what I mean? Or is it Qui-Gon Jinn? What is it? Do you know what I mean?
I'm so glad. I was going to literally mention that next, so I'm so glad you brought that up. No, I thought it was fantastic. I was like, oh, it's like she's kind of still looking over them and sitting with them. Oh, it's so beautiful.
And also it mirrors a shot in Trainspotting 1 as well, which they do use as well. Which you do see it was fantastic, beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
It's so good. So, bearing all this in mind, this is the question we've got to ask ourselves: is this a film in its own right? So, is this a film that actually takes the characters on their own journey throughout this thing? If there was no Trainspotting 1, would this be a film that you would still really enjoy? Would this be a film that you would still think would be a cult classic because of just the way it's laid out, the way it's shot, the directing style, whatever it is, the character development, or is it reliant upon Trainspotting 1? So these are the kind of questions we need to talk about. Let's kind of talk about, firstly, though, the character development. How well do we think the characters were moved along in this film? Joseph, I'll come to you first. What do you think? Was there any strong storylines that you thought were very, very good in terms of that?
Yeah, I think the characters moved along as they needed to, if that makes sense. I think if we go to Begbie, his whole purpose of his character is to show he hasn't moved on until we get the reveal that the old tramp in the toilets was his dad, and that he makes that connection. Maybe I need to change to break the cycle, or maybe I know I can't change, so I can hope that Franco Jr. can change and break his cycle. I think that's just, even though it comes right at the end, that's a really nice tipping point for him, and it changes, and we see a different, more vulnerable side to Begbie. We still know he's a psycho, but at the same time, there's a little bit of humanity in him, which I think makes him all the more scary. Because growing up in Scotland, everyone knows a guy like that. Everyone knows a guy like Begbie.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
With Spud, you see him trying to change, but he's stuck in that rut, and you're wanting him to change. And I think he stays the most the same through the entire film, because he's still that sort of loyal, a bit bumbling, a bit he puts his foot in his mouth a lot. Ends up kind of doing things that he doesn't mean to, and he doesn't change. But I think he's meant to do that. Same with Sick Boy as well. And then I think for me, the one disappointment for the characters is actually Renton.
Yeah,
how he kind of just he regresses a bit.
Yeah,
and I wanted more from him. I wanted not like the whole almost like an evangelical, like holier than thou sort of aspect coming back. But I was hoping he'd actively help, Spud and Sick Boy a bit more.
Yeah.
As opposed to just falling back into the old ways. If that makes sense.
No, I totally agree with you, Joseph. That was the one moment in the film where on the first time I watched this film when it came out, that was the one moment in the scene where I properly got angry. I got genuinely angry at Renton because what the fuck are you doing? Like when he does the heroin, like what the hell are you doing, man? Like you've done all this work for 20 years to get yourself better. I know your life's going to shit a bit, but come on, man. Like that was something I really was viscerally annoyed about. But the Spud thing, what you said was interesting. I actually disagree. I think Spud goes on the biggest change personally. I
agree with that.
I think Spud is the one person who actually sorts himself out and actually is going to have a future, because he actively tries his best to just stop, just to go cold turkey, get the drugs out of the system. You see him go through that.
That's my mistake. I mixed up Spud and Sick Boy in my head there. I'm sorry. No, other way around. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. No, yeah. So I was just like for Spud, it is. I love his journey in this film. I think it's fantastic. I love how he starts to channel it into his writing, and I love the ending of the film. I've got a title. I think that's a great ending for the film personally. But for me, the standout storyline is Begbie. That is a fantastic storyline. I love his development throughout the film. I love the ending, because this is the thing. One of the main themes of this film for me, and also a little bit in the first one too, is this whole idea of social mobility, which is, and what I love about this film is that it doesn't just pigeonhole social mobility in like the professional sense, like you get a better job than your da, than your granda, you go to college or uni. Because for me, social mobility is a bit more than that. Social mobility is also about just being a better person than who came before you. And it's always been my belief that a son's job is to be better than his father. Always, no matter what circumstance that you're in, that is your job as a human being, to be better than what came before you. And I love that scene. It's fantastic. Robert Carlyle is absolutely brilliant in that scene, and the line gets you. You'll be a better man than either of us. That is because like that resonates with so many people, I imagine, for sure. Yeah. And as I said, that's what life's all about. You just got to be better than what was before you, etc. So, for me, I love those aspects of the film. I love Spud's development. I love Begbie's development. The one development I didn't like, because of like Joseph said, the non-existence, was Sick Boy. Like, what the fuck does he do? Like, he doesn't go anywhere, I don't think, personally.
Yeah, he just lived in the past. He was just raging and angry for the whole film.
I think that shows the difference between the two characters and what their personalities are. So, like, as much as I would say I don't think Spud has changed, I think he's the only one that tries to, apart from maybe Begbie at the end, where he does have this realization when he's reading the stories and hears about the Wizzy's old man. He's like, right, well, I'm not going to be that for my boy. But I think Spud tries to. Whether he does or he doesn't, we won't know until another 20 years when they want to make a wee bit more money and they make Trainspotting 3. But
when all that,
I'm sorry, Danny. Sorry, Danny Boyle. I would love to be in Trainspotting 3. But no, the point I'm making is like Spud.
When all the Star Wars when he dries up. Spud tries. Spud. You see that he has got off it, and I love the reason that he fell back into heroin was because he hadn't changed his watch. Like, to me, I'm going, that's genius. Like, I'm a junkie. Why would I know what daylight savings is and stuff like that? That was really funny to me. But you see that he does. It's that idea, because I know a couple of people very much like Spud in the sense of, I don't think he knows his self-worth. And then when he realizes that someone actually likes to hear the stories he's got to tell and he writes them down, that he does have this self-worth. So maybe he does have a reason to change. He had that reason in his son, and for whatever reason it failed. So now he's got this other chance. Whereas when you are saying about Sick Boy is a creature of habit. Sick Boy is where he is and he won't change from that. And I believe Renton is the same. Renton got out by chance, but came all the way back to where he was. And as you say, like when he did take when the scene where he does take the heroin, I think proves the fact he is a creature of habit. And I do think that's my biggest issue with this film, be it going from good to great, is I think it focuses on the wrong characters. Obviously, Ewan McGregor is the biggest name. You're going to focus on Ewan McGregor. But if this story was about Spud and Begbie more and looked more into their development rather than the story that we follow, because it's essentially Sick Boy and Renton trying to change the pub into a brothel, and I'm going, that's not interesting. Whereas finding out what happens with Spud and finding out what happens with Begbie, to me, would be more interesting with less references to the past.
I agree. It's like the most powerful scenes are the ones between Spud and Begbie.
Yes.
Because it's the moment where, Begbie comes in and he finds all the writing and he's back in that old school way of taking the piss, like aggressively taking the piss out of Spud, and you're on the edge of your seat thinking,
what's he gonna do?
This is the point where we lose Spud. And you're nae wanting to lose Spud because you love and he starts reading it, and he's like, read it, and Spud starts reading. He reads Begbie's name, and you're thinking,
Fuck.
oh shit, here we
I'm
go.
going to delete this. I swear.
Here we go. I was ready. As if Robert Carlyle pulled out a knife there, I was pausing that film and stopping. I don't care if I had a contractual obligation to watch this film. I was stopping there, Craig. But then, it's the way Begbie says, "Go on, keep reading it."
It's a lovely wee turn, though. It is. He's like, I remember that night. It's such a lovely wee turn.
And you're just like, maybe if circumstances had been different, Begbie would have been a really good friend to Spud.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, you see Begbie recognise his worth. And I completely agree with you, Andrea. It should have focused on Spud and Begbie.
Mhm.
Do you guys think? Do you guys think that George Lucas watched Trainspotting 1 and saw the way Ewan McGregor was and goes, "There's Obi-Wan Kenobi"?
That's Obi-Wan.
Because they literally filmed Star Wars Star Wars Episode 1 literally like 2 years after that film came out. I think. Literally.
Yeah. I think it was. Yeah, I think he did not do Moulin Rouge next, and then it was Star Wars. So. Yeah, I'm a musical junkie. Obi-Wan Kenobi. There we go.
Yeah. And then literally Spud ends up in The Mummy. Is it The Mummy? Is it The Mummy or is it Pearl Harbor? Is it The Mummy? I can't remember which one Spud.
I know he's in the film The Rundown with The Rock, or Welcome to the Jungle with The Rock, but I don't know about. I'm not sure about. I don't think he's in The Mummy, so
I don't think he's in The Mummy.
It's the Pearl Harbor. That was Pearl Harbor. Yeah, that was it.
I don't know if this is going to come up, but I need to talk about my favourite scene. And it's just, as someone who's grown up in in Airdrie and Coatbridge, and is very
big up
knowledgeable
Coatbridge,
in
man.
terms of Catholics and Protestants. The scene where they go to the Orange Order.
Oh yeah,
I have never laughed so hard in my life in the cinema. I have family members and friends and family members who I spotted, and not literally, but in that hall. I'm going, that's Big Tom, that's John, that's like, and it was the slow build to like them singing that song when they're singing and there was no more Catholics left, and you just see them all getting it like that. I'm going, I know so many people like that. And then the joke got funnier when they were like going to the cash line, and it's 1690. And I'm going, I could probably list off 30 people I know that'll probably be their cash point pin. But that for me was like, I think when I say that there's moments and there's parts within that moment was so individual to this film.
Yes.
And I absolutely adored it. So when they did do the individual moments to this film, they done them so well. There just wasn't enough for me.
Fair enough. Dan, you've got quite an interesting perspective, as we've already established, because you watched this first. So do you think this film stands up in its own right then, the sequel?
Definitely. Definitely. Like I think so. And see, coming back to what you said about the Orange Order, Andrew, that was my first experience. I walked into a Rangers club in Linwood, the Linwood Rangers club, when I was like 18. I walked in, you English? I was like, yeah, I'm English. He goes, oh, mate, Rule Britannia, my man. Rule Britannia, man. I was like, so literally, it was like I had that experience. So when I watched that scene, I agree with Angie. It was one of my favourite scenes. But coming back to what you said, Craig, it definitely stands out on its own, because when I watched it, I'd not seen the first one.
Yeah,
and it gave me like it was like flashbacks, and. I can see where Andrew's coming from, maybe too much. If you'd watched the first one and then the second one, it was maybe going back too much.
I think, though, coming from your point of view, though, I think that works for someone that hasn't seen the first one. So you are not beholden to the first film, because there's enough information given that if you haven't seen the first film, you know what's going on. So I think coming from that point of view, in the sense of if the general public haven't seen Trainspotting 1, because it was quite a cult classic, and it was, as you say, like you come to Scotland, Scottish people are like, have you seen Trainspotting? So I think from your point of view, in the sense of you hadn't seen it first, I think it maybe works well in that sense. But because I'd seen the first one, I've just got that kind of different view.
Yeah, because you know all these things, you don't need to keep being reminded of them.
Yeah.
When you haven't, if you're just a random person, you just turn the TV on, oh, Trainspotting 2, not heard of any of this, I'll just start watching it. You wouldn't need to watch the first one, because there's enough flashbacks to help you.
There's an interesting take. My father watched it when it came out, and just maybe like about 6 months before it came out, my dad got back together with all his old high school pals, and started, doing pub nights and things like that. Then it comes out, they all go as a group. These old pals who used to cut about 20 years ago to watch Trainspotting. And I mind him phoning me the next day going, oh, it was great. It was brilliant. Oh, see it. Oh, Kenneth, fab film. It was absolutely fabulous. And I'm thinking, I'm wondering if watching Trainspotting 20 years ago when it came out in that same sort of like age group as the characters are, then watching it 20 years later has the exact hit, the exact effect that Danny Boyle was looking at. I completely agree with what you said earlier, Andrew. Like, the bit where they're hiking and Sick Boy says they're renting, it's just a nostalgia hit. It is. The film's a nostalgia hit, but for like the right reasons.
Yeah. I did have a moment of hesitancy there, Joseph, when you were telling that story. And you're like, my dad watched it and he went back to, and you said the pub. I was like, you went back to using heroin, and he went back to using heroin. Having a good time.
No, he came up to me. He's like, "Here, son, grab a belt."
I think the one thing I love about Scotland as well, like with the whole Trainspotting thing, it's like, the first film was just like, it's like national treasure. And then like you have Outlander out now, and like people in Scotland don't watch it and have the same passion because the Americans love it. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, people take so much pride in Scotland for things that are so realistic in Scotland. It's the same with Braveheart as well. It's such a big film, and everyone takes passion to it, and the soundtrack is so important. It really is. I mean, Braveheart, James Horner, the composer. I know this is going off subject a little bit. James Horner, the composer, like each time I listen to Braveheart, it just makes me want to go run up Ben Lomond and come back down again. You know what I mean? And it's the same with Trainspotting. Like, you literally watch Trainspotting, you listen to that, that boom, boom, boom music, and you just like, oh, well, I live in sort of the west of Scotland, sort of Paisley area. So I'm like, Vienna's, because it's like everyone's like loves that dance, trancey music. GBX at the weekend, yes, let's do it. Do you know what I mean? It gives you that. Come on, kind of feel, and that's what I loved about Trainspotting as well, because I was born in '91, and the '90s music is the best. Yeah, it always will be.
Completely agree. Yes. I think that's the interesting thing as well, when you see the line in the first one where it's being Scottish is shite. We can say that. Nobody else can say that. We can say that.
I couldn't say that. That would be me over that. That was literally you guys would straight over.
You'll turn it to Begbie if you say that.
Daniel, if you're for Paisley, you're an honorary Scot, mate. If you're for Paisley, honorary Scot.
Listen, the Wallace Monument is literally about a 5-minute walk from my house where he lived. So yeah, I've been up there many times.
I think you can now officially say it's shite being Scottish.
Yeah,
officially.
It's shite being Scottish.
There we go. Not bad, man. That's not a bad accent, man. Well done.
That's one thing that I really liked about the guy, that because you guys will probably notice, English actors playing Scots 90% of the time shit. Right? 90% of the time it is shit. But the guy that played Sick Boy, wow.
His was really good.
Yeah. It's not like the Peaky Blinders one.
I did see an interview with I think they were on Graham Norton, and Spud was talking about in the first film he'd only heard them like, so I'm assuming that he'd stayed in his Scottish accent the entire time between takes and stuff, and they were heading to the rap party. And he started talking with his London accent, and Spud was like, "What the fuck? Where's this come from?" So obviously, if it convinced the people on set, I think he has a really good.
That's the thing. Like, apparently, Ewan McGregor said that in the first film he didn't have a dialect coach for Johnny Lee Miller. But apparently he was just drunk. That's how he did the Scottish accent. That's what he said anyway.
As you do.
but he got a dialect coach for this one, and it does pay off. I think he does a good job. I mean, I think I can count on. I think one hand how many people have done a good Scottish accent in something that I've watched. Jodie Comer. Jodie Comer is one.
She's fantastic.
She is amazing.
Any accent.
Any accent, yeah.
I think I could just listen to Robert Carlyle just speak in that accent just for hours and hours. Obviously, I'd be terrified the entire time, but it's just it's wonderful.
Right, guys, thank you so much for chatting about Trainspotting 2 with me. That was absolutely brilliant. So now for the fun part. Here we go. Now for over to Sasha, because we've watched this film, but how well are we paying attention? It's up to the episode's victor to decide and test us. So over to Sasha for 8 questions to fool them all.
Okie dokie. I actually found loads of questions, so they're all dotted about on my notes. I'll go with this one first, and I'll give it to Daniel.
Oh, Jesus.
Right, okay, so...
Do I have to say it out loud, or should I just write it down?
No, right, let's say it out loud. 10 seconds to
say it out loud. What colour are the flowers that Spud puts on Tommy's wee stone? His wee gravestone?
Yellow.
Yes! Yes.
1-0.
Come
1-0. Here we go.
He's a Scot. Okay, Craig.
Oh, no.
Is it another flower question?
Okay.
What flowers are on the wallpaper in Begbie's house?
Oh, fuck me. Purple.
Well, what kind of flower?
Oh, what kind?
What flower?
Well, lilacs. There you go. Lilacs.
No. They were lilies.
Oh! So close.
What kind of flowers are they? Blue.
No, I'm afraid that's not a flower, but okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
I had a rough Valentine's Day anyway. So.
Joseph.
Yes.
I know this might be an easy one. Okay, what was the name of Sick Boy's pub?
Oh, you bastard.
Don't.
It's all coming out now.
If you get this wrong, Joseph.
My mind's gone blank. I'm trying to think.
Time's up, Joseph. You got an answer?
I don't know. I'm just going to choose the pub around the corner, Harlequins. I cannot remember for the life of me.
Is it Port Sunshine?
Yes.
Oh, well.
I'm so glad I didn't give you that question.
Here we go. 2-1.
Okay, Andrew. So in the We Choose Life monologue, what was the first thing that Renton mentions?
Looking about when he's telling her. I know this is wrong, but it's like, oh, fuck. Sasha, I absolutely detest you right now. Every other question, right? Choose mobile phones. I know that's wrong.
Oh, dude, it is wrong. It's choose designer lingerie.
Fuck off.
Hey, we've still got another 4, man. It's 3-1. We can still come.
Yeah, you could totally. Right, okay, let's see. Okay, we'll go back to Daniel.
Oh, well, here we go. The Englishman will bring it back.
Yes! I believe in you.
This one's quite easy, so you might. What floor does Spud live on?
Oh, good question.
13.
Yes!
Well done.
Come on!
Three-
You're a beauty!
3-2.
Yes! Yeah, dancer.
Oh,
Okay,
no. Pressure's on, though. No.
Craig.
Purple.
What letters appear on Begbie's jumper in prison?
What letters? Oh. What letters? Oh, do you know, Andrew? Fuck.
Think so.
All I can remember for that scene is seeing him wear green and I'm going, I suppose the Hibs.
Well, because of that, HIB. Or HRC.
No, it's SPS.
Oh.
Actually, I don't know what it means, but yeah, probably something
Yeah, I
about
didn't know that.
secret.
Okay.
I thought it was like the name of the prison, but I was wrong.
Right,
Ah.
cool.
It's like
Right.
HM or something, but it's fine.
Okay, right. Playing for pride then. Let's go, boys.
We can still get the draw.
No.
Yeah. Still get it back.
Can we?
Yeah, it's 4-2.
I'm not paying attention. Right, carry on. Purple. Carry on.
Right, Joseph.
Yes.
What colour was Renton's house coat when they had to walk home naked? So when they walked home naked and they got given a house coat each, what colour was Renton's?
He's got it.
Do I have to get the color, or just the color, or the pattern as well?
If
just
you,
said
I mean,
colour.
you're not going to get any extra points, but if you get the colour.
What
Renton's
flavor
sitting
is
the
on the
left.
jacket?
He's wearing a pink house coat, isn't he?
Yes.
Yes, and it's got
Aye.
hearts on it, doesn't it?
It's just polka dots, but yeah.
Andrew,
Hey.
come on,
Come on.
Andrew. Come on, Andrew. Here we
Pressure's
go.
on, boy.
Okay.
I want it noted that she specifically gave Daniel easy ones, so I can't wait to hear this. I'm not saying anything against Daniel, but I'm more about the designated to these questions.
Okay, this is a super easy one. Who did Sick Boy's pub belong to before him?
His auntie.
See, there you go. Well done.
Right. Okay. No. Now, Sasha, do we have a tiebreaker? Do we have?
Yeah, somewhere, sure.
Here we go. Right. Now, I personally want to say we nominate someone to answer this question. I think it's only fair. So, who do we want? Do we want Dan or Andrew? Because I think me and Joseph are out.
Yeah.
Definitely Andrew.
Oh no.
No, I'm wanting to nominate Dan. Dan,
I kinda want
you're
Dan.
on fire,
no.
man.
Oh, this is pressure. This is
Yeah,
pressure.
Right.
go on, Dan. No
Let's
pressure
go,
on
let's,
you,
let,
mate.
Let's go, Dan. This is, to be fair, this is like this is the closest we've come because we were close with Joseph, but this is the closest we've come. So let's go for it. Come on, Sasha.
Okay. How old was Tommy when he died?
Oh no!
23.
Yes!
Yes! Come on!
Yes! Come on! I remember
Finally.
that scene. I remember that scene because they argue about it at the by the hill when they put the flowers down. He's like, "So how old was he? 22? No, he was 23." There you go. Yeah, I do remember it.
Awesome.
Remember the line. I watched it last night. So
Good choice
Prep.
picking Daniel. I would have said 19 in the
Yeah.
middle.
Oh.
There we go. Thank you so much, Sasha. Thank you so much. So great questions, and that is the first win for the panel on the season. Well done, well done, well done, guys.
Yay.
Well done, Dan.
guys. I'm so proud.
Even when she gets beat, she's fucking insufferable. Man, be sad.
I mean, screw yous, man.
Put some effort in it, Sasha. Put some effort in it being
I'm
angry.
raging.
I'm so annoyed. Okay, right. So, quickly before we go to what might have been, let's do a quick fire round of buy, rent, or refund. So, for those of you who don't know, buy means that you would add this to your collection, watch it on repeat, recommend it to everyone in their gran. Rent means that you enjoyed the film, but you maybe recommend it to a couple of people, but you're in no hurry to rewatch. And refund means you don't want to see this film ever again. Cast it away into the bin. So, Dan, I'll start with you just very quickly. Buy, rent, or refund T2 Trainspotting.
I actually rented it yesterday, so because I had to, because I couldn't find it, so I could prep for this. But yeah, I would definitely rent. I wouldn't necessarily buy, but I would definitely rent it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Blockbusters. Bring back blockbusters.
Exactly. Sasha?
I actually have it on DVD, so I guess I'm going to say bye.
Andrew again is seething. I can tell he's seething because
I'm not seeing it. I'm not going to judge other people.
he doesn't even want to buy our film. He doesn't even want to buy our film. There we go. Okay, Andrew, buy, rent, or refund?
I'm dithering between rent and sell. I don't think if I hadn't had to watch this film for this show, I would never watch this film again. But there are parts that I would recommend to people watch, so I'll just rent it.
Okay, cool. Joseph?
I'm the same as Andrew. I wouldn't have watched it if I didn't have to. But now I'm a very strong rent.
Okay.
Almost to buy. Almost.
Oh, okay, cool. I mean, I really love the film. I really do genuinely really love the film, and not because I'm in it for 1 second, but I really do like it. So I'm still a rent though. I'm still a rent. I think, yeah, I've seen it once. I've seen it again for this. I'm in no hurry to rewatch it, but I would recommend it to people who I think would enjoy it. So definitely a rent. So let us know on Facebook and Twitter. Get us at 100 Film Reviews. Would you buy, rent, or refund on T2 Trainspotting? So before we move on to Dan's interview, let's just very quickly, I've been looking forward to this all day, so let's go to Andrew and Josef for What Might Have Been. And Andrew, you can kick us off. Andrew, kick us off for What Might Have Been. So tell us about Winter Soldier, why you picked it, why it was the deserved winner, really.
That hurts me even more that I'm in this section and I'm being told that it was the deserved winner. I think everybody knows it. Sasha's admitted it. So clearly just Sasha has more friends than me. The reason I picked Winter Soldier if it's not clear already with the episodes that I've been on, and Vinashri, if you're watching, you can probably fast forward the next 20 minutes. I'm a big old Marvel geek. I'm a big old superhero geek. The film grossed $714 million. So, I mean, that in itself tells you what it is. But the reason specifically I chose Winter Soldier, I think it's one of the better sequels. It's much better. I love the first Captain America, but this one is beyond better than the first Captain America. But the other reason I picked it is, obviously, I'm aware not everyone is superhero fans, not MCU fans. This is not a superhero film. This could be a James Bond film. This could be a Bourne film. This is a spy thriller. So if there was someone that was interested or that had their interest piqued by, right, where would I start? Obviously, I'm going to tell them watch it from start to finish. But if you're not into this kind of genre, Winter Soldier is the best one to go because it's just a great movie. It's not a great superhero movie. It's a great movie. There's so many characters. We're already seeing that there's going to be a series coming in the next 2 weeks with Falcon and Winter Soldier that's going to be carrying on the legacy of that film. Yeah, I just think it's an overall really good film, and I think the actors in it are fantastic. You get people like Robert Redford in the film. You've obviously got your MCU cast with Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Samuel L. Jackson, Sebastian Stan. It's a stellar cast. It's a great movie. It's what should have won. I'm incredibly bitter about it. I'm still showing my colours for it. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as I'm on the 100 film review team, I'm never going to talk about this film again because you had your chance, people. So,
Oh, yes.
and I would also like to end with the fact that not only am I bitter at my film not winning, the fact that the gentleman who nominated Shrek 2 got barely 9 or 10% is a joke.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to hand over to Joseph to explain why it should have been picked before Trainspotting 2 too.
Thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is a joke that's not worth laughing at. This is a joke that doesn't even deserve to be told on stage by the most famous comedians. Because Sasha robbed not only a wonderful film such as Winter Soldier, but the epitome of animated film was cast aside like yesterday's lunch. How dare you, Sasha? How dare you? How very dare you? I have got one thing to say about Shrek 2. Jennifer Saunders singing I Need a Hero. That is the only reason you need to watch this film. And if you watch it and you hear that absolute club banger and you didn't like this film, there's something wrong with you, quite frankly. That's my personal opinion. My personal opinion does not reflect the opinions of the 100 Film Review Podcast. It's a wonderful film. It still holds up. The storyline is so much more complex than the first one. The first one is pretty much a tongue-in-cheek sort of criticism on the fairy tale genre, and then what Shrek has managed to do is just expand on that and really pick apart cliches in it and just show that there's so much dimension to these stories. And it's also fun. It's brilliant. You've got everything in it. You've got love, you've got betrayal, you've got comedy, you've got a castle siege with a big fuck off gingerbread man. What else do you want in a film? It's so easy to just put on in the background. It's so easy to sit down and do what I did and watch every single moment of it, frame by frame, analysing it for its true cinematic quality.
Yes.
And quite frankly, everyone's let me down. And
it's okay.
I take that
Great
personally.
speech.
So quite frankly, if you're ever wanting a film, choose Shrek 2. Choose Fairy Godmother. Choose John Cleese as the king. Choose Mike Myers as Shrek. And quite frankly, just choose a better film.
Round of applause.
Well done, Joseph. Absolutely brilliant. Thanks, Andrew, as well. I must admit, I was upset as well with how hashtag justice for Shrek 2. I must admit, because it's one of the few occasions actually where I think a sequel's better than the original. I think Shrek 2 is genuinely better than Shrek 1, personally.
I think out of the three, I think arguably I think Shrek could have an argument that it is better, but I agree. I think Shrek 2 is better. But I think you would find less arguments for Trainspotting 2. People saying that the second was better than the first.
However, overall, I think it's probably a better film in the general public's eyes. Shrek 2's got a very niche following, and I think
when you picked Shrek 2, I proper panicked, mate, because I honestly thought, like, because I'm going, I love Shrek 2.
I think
I was so shocked at how. Well, I'm not, because Sasha's blackmail.
I know. It's just
anymore.
It's when you're up against Sasha and her big black book of just names that she can call on. It's you're not winning.
Do you know the sad thing is that I can see going forward is if we do another vote off where we all pick films and you've got all 5 or 6 of us campaigning against Sasha and she still kicks all her arses in one film. I'll be going into such a depression. It's unreal.
Oh man. Oh well, guys, thank you so much for talking about the T2 Trainspotting with that awesome discussion and also with what might have been absolutely brilliant. So let's move on to Daniel Reynolds.
You find out what has happened to my daughter.
Get your hands off me!
Steady on, love. I'm only trying to help you.
I don't need your help, thank you very much.
Or it will be you that is punished.
So what is it you do?
What do you mean?
What do you do for work?
Oh, it's complicated.
Really? Or is it because you're too embarrassed to tell me?
Do you want to just reach that way? Sorry, love, I didn't get your name.
Alice. And yours?
Harry. I'll see you around.
Oi! Watch where you're going! You never see happiness in the working class. Only fear.
So that I'm actually
Harry Scott.
Hey, the adopted Scott.
Exactly. I'm actually just before we get to the actual questions, Daniel, I'm really interested. Like, how did you get into acting in the first place? Because I saw in your bio and stuff that you had a few like odd jobs here and there throughout the years. But how did you actually fall into acting eventually?
I believe it or not, this is without going into too much depth about this, because it's I was in Ibiza in 2016, as you are, with my best friend, and I was severely I was like 19 stone. I was severely overweight, and I wasn't happy. And we were on the beach drinking Buckfast, yes, big bottle of Buckfast, and we were both in retail. We were both really unhappy, and I just went. He went to me, Dan, what do you want to do? This was at 11 o'clock at night before we went to Amnesia. And I was just like, I don't know, I want to be an actor. And he was just like, fucking do it then. Do it. So I literally signed up to college in 2017, and the rest is history. I studied for 3 years, and that's what got me into acting. I acted when I was younger as well, but yeah, they say that you kind of go through phases, where it's kind of like, I had this over kind of enthusiastic personality and very kind of confident in front of people. And, my parents put me into like a kind of drama group for about 4 years, and then ended up playing rugby, and then come back to it when I was 25. So yeah, I loved it.
Awesome.
And that's what I got into it. That's how I got into acting. So
that's a great story. So you're here to talk about your period drama, A True Mismatch. Can you tell everyone a little bit about the show? What it's all about? Yeah, where did the idea come from?
Oh, the idea just came out of nowhere, as it does. It just. I think it was last year or the year before. We had something in college where we had to put our own swing on like a play. Make it about 3 minutes long. So I picked Antigone, and I put like a 1920s kind of swing on it. So I put us all in costumes, and I kind of got an idea from that. And the guy that I've written it with, I kind of had a meeting with him just before, when the big lockdown came just after Christmas. It was Boxing Day when we went into lockdown again. And then, it's been there ever since. had a meeting when you could meet up for coffee and stuff, and I was just like, I really want to write something kind of short film. And Chris has been in a lot of film festivals, and he's done really well. He's kind of built himself up from like YouTube videos up to now, you know, prime video stuff and award-winning short films. And I said, I've got an idea, you know, I want to go back to this time period. And we kind of walked and we had discussions. We saw some places, and, you know, I live in Paisley, and Paisley's got a lot of Victorian architecture that has not been touched. It's incredible. I think the street we filmed, the concept trailer, is the most listed street in Scotland or something, or even in Europe or something like that. And it's got, you know, it's still got the Victorian vibe to it. So it was just like Victorian times. And then we just came up with a story. And as soon as the story came together, we ripped this first episode within a couple of weeks, really. So that's how it all came about. It was like location scouting, and we were up till like 4 o'clock in the morning writing the script. So that's how the idea sort of came around.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what's the show actually about?
Okay, so it's really it's kind of like it's the clash of classes. So it's like a Romeo and Juliet kind of story, but the lead character Alice is kind of upper class, and the lead male is kind of working class, really poor, and they kind of meet in hostile environment, and kind of you know, the relationship starts to come together. But when we wrote the first episode, you guys will probably agree with me here, when you watch something, it takes you a good 4 episodes to get into it. We wanted to grab people the first episode, so when you watch the first episode, when it comes out, it's going to be like, you'll be like, wow, you establish everybody pretty early, you know their relationships, you know who they are, where they are in the social what's the word, social social ladder. And you get to establish the characters pretty early. So we're really excited, and to bring work to fellow creators based in Scotland, which is the most important thing as well. Indeed. So yeah, we're really excited.
Yes, absolutely. That's what it's all about, of course. And you are the lead male in the show. Is that correct? So what can you tell us about your character?
So my character is like a kind of working class Jack the Lad kind of character, who's very much kind of into crime. He runs like a crime sort of gang that is very good at it, like really good at it. It's not like kind of professional assassins, kind of rich, and kind of like Robin Hood, stealing from the rich to give to the poor kind of thing. And he runs like a kind of he's got like pickpockets at like young kids. He's got, you know, like full grown men in their mid-20s also doing it as well. And that's how he earns his money. But he meets a young lady, and kind of, you know, things could possibly change. So it's without giving too much away, that's what my character is. And yeah, we really wanted to establish, because when you watch period dramas, it's very much upper class. It's all about the upper class, you know, because there's so much drama that happens with the upper class, but you want to know the nitty gritty stuff that happens in the lower classes as well, because there's stuff that happens that not a lot of people know about. So we wanted to kind of, you know, discover that and bring it to the screen so people can watch it and see the two different sides of the social ladder.
Awesome. Sounds great. So you've started a crowdfunder now. I mean, I'm saying this now, but you don't even need us, man. You don't even need us. You're already like, what, 80% or something like that? So you're
81%, yeah, which is
amazing.
Amazing, mate. Honestly, that's so good. I'm so happy for you. But I mean, what we can do though, because like, hey, these things, have you got a flexible goal? Is that right?
I think we do. We have a flexible goal. So I think we're very likely to hit our goal, because we're 81% after a week, literally 1 week, and it's mid-month, and it's during the pandemic where people have lost their jobs and all of that sort of stuff. So like, we've done so well under the circumstances, which we're so grateful for. And we do have a flexible goal. So if we do hit target, we'll probably continue it for another 30 days to people, so we can maybe get money towards second episode or third episode, or even the full series. Do you know what I mean? So we'll play it by ear.
Yeah, so that's what we could do. We can help you to just keep pushing on and keep getting that budget up, so you can get as much as you can for it and get the episodes made. Yeah. So where can people go to get involved with this crowdfunder? So
if you go into we're running it on Indiegogo at the moment, so you can we were trending on the web series category. We were like in the top 10, which is incredible. And if you just type in A True Mismatch, it will just come up, and you can see You can donate if you're unable to donate, then share it on your social media pages. It's just as powerful as donating as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd much appreciate that. And so you just go into our Indiegogo page, True Mismatch, and that's where you find us.
Yes, and you can also go on to Out 100 Film Reviews on Facebook and Twitter, because we will have a link to the Indiegogo for everyone as well to get involved. And finally, you've kind of mentioned it already, but finally, where can people find you and the show on social media so they can keep up with all you've got going on?
You can, if you just search in A True Mismatch, we're on TikTok, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on most social media platforms apart from Bebo. Don't know when that's coming out actually, but we'll try and get on that. Share the love, guys. Share the love. So you can get us, just search in A True Mismatch series or just A True Mismatch. We come up. We're the only, literally, or you can Google us. We're on IMDb or BD. DB, that's
DB.
it as well. So you can search us up, and we're pretty easy to find because we're the only kind of out there that's a true mismatch. So you can find us pretty easy, guys. So appreciate you follow and share the love, and
Awesome. I wish you all the best for it, Dan. It sounds like a great project. Looking forward to seeing it coming out, and we'll do our best to help you support it. And thanks for coming on the show. Thank you to Sasha, Josef, and Andrew for coming on the show as well and helping us talk through T2 Trainspotting. As always, we must finish with a life lesson. So here we go. Now, Joseph, you've already kind of stole my thunder a little bit, but that's all right. With your little enter, what might have been, but never mind, it's all right. So here we go. The life lesson. Choose life. Choose a sailor outfit that makes your balls like they're in a vice for 14 hours. Choose people shouting, "All right, Captain Birdseye," whenever you step outside for a bit of fresh air. Choose embarrassing yourself in front of Robert Carlyle and Ewan McGregor. Choose dancing your ass off, acting your ass off, only for your scenes to be left on the cutting room floor. Choose telling your family and friends to watch Trainspotting 2 because you're in it, but only there for 1 second of screen time. And choose, despite all that, the best damn job in the world. Choose acting. Choose acting. Choose life. See you next time.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here